My name is Guy and welcome back to my dining room table build. I've finally completed the interior pieces of the table, and that includes the sliding mechanisms. Let me show you how I made these. Well, after I got the base glued up, I put all the internal dividers in. Again, these are all sliding dovetails. And I've clamped everything together because I want to make sure it stays in one spot. And by the way, pardon the noise in the background, that's my furnace. It's actually snowing today. I guess that's cool. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Anyways, so I want to start marking out to where the internal pieces are going to go, the internal sliders. So this is where the notch is cut out. Now there's going to be a piece of walnut that the top attaches to. And then there's going to be an internal piece here where the actual drawer slide is going to attach to. So I want to do first is I want to make sure that, I'll take my big square here, that I'm clearing this inside edge. So I'm just going to make a mark. Now, if any of you have dealt with drawer slides before, it's very important that the drawer itself or the slides themselves are perfectly parallel to one another. So I'm going to base everything off of this reference point. So now that I've got that marked, I can put the pencil up here and go up to here and mark that one as well. And that's the starting point for the cutouts for these slides here, or for these dividers here. I've got the pieces back in the frame, and there's going to be 4 pieces I need to cut. And again, these are 2 inches deep right here. So, and I know the distance between here and here is 21 inches. So I need 4 pieces, 21 inches long, 2 inches high, and I'll cut those out of some maple real quick. Well, this is one of the pieces I just cut, and I just fit it in there for make sure I got the length right. And the length isn't too critical. But I did make a mistake. So the whole idea is that this is the piece that the drawer slide is going to rest up against, and there's going to be another piece. Let me grab another piece of wood here. There's actually going to be walnut that extends out like this. The only problem is I really didn't give myself enough room here for all that. So what I really need to have is I need to have 2 1/8 inches from this point here back over here. So I'm going to remark this all out and put my dado stack back in and set it all back up and recut these. It's going to set me back a little bit, but not too much. And you know, it's not catastrophic. I'll get over it. So that wasn't too bad. It set me back about 15 minutes. And this is really what I'm looking for here. So I'm going to be taking this, and the slides are actually going to attach to this piece. And these are 21-inch full extension drawer slides. And those are going to go on there. And then there's going to be a piece of walnut that attaches to that. And then these things are just going to slide in and out. Now, before I cut those pieces of walnut, I do want to make mention that even though these are heavy-duty full extension drawer slides, they only need to go out about 10 inches. And that's to open up to get the leaf out of the middle. I don't want the weight of the table resting on these drawer slides. I actually want it resting on this right here, on this piece of maple. I'm going to address that later, and I'll show you how. But again, what I first need to do is I need to get some pieces about 34, 35 inches long that are walnut that go on the inside here. And they need to be 2 1/8 inches because I want the whole tabletop to ride about 1/8 of an inch over the surface of the base. So I'm going to get to that right now. Well, this is the end that's going to be exposed beyond the end assembly. So I want to mark about 1 1/4 inches in. And then I've already started this, but I just want to maybe darken this so I see a little bit better. Just want to put a gentle curve on that. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's nothing crucial. You're really not going to be seeing these unless you're, laying down on the ground looking at the table from underneath. So I'm going to rough cut this on the bandsaw, then take it over to the sander, sand it smooth, and then do the other 3 based on this. So what I've got is one of the supports for the slides clamped up on my table here, and this is just basically what's going to represent the bottom of that. This is 21 inches long, the slide is 20 inches, and I've made a mark a ½ inch in so I can center that on the piece. Now what I want to do is I want to push this up against there so it's resting on the bottom, because I want to transfer all that force or all that weight to the actual dividers themselves. So after I've got that done, I'm going to open these up a little bit so I can expose where those screw holes are. I don't want to screw all the way through these. All I want to do is just make a mark where those screw holes are going to be. I'm actually going to be attaching these with machine screws that are going to go through and then bolt on from the back. So I'm going to get the other ones done, and then I'll drill out for the counter bores on the other side and then drill these holes all the way through. So now I've got the holes done in the side supports. I need to put them in the pieces that are actually attached to the top. Now, I should have mentioned before, it's very important that you make mirror images of all this. So I kind of did a little layout ahead of time, but I figured out that to the front of this, to this point right here, needs to be 27¼ inches. So I'm going to do the same thing I pretty much did before and just extend these out and then move this up until I hit the mark of 27¼ inches, and then I'm going to take my Vicks bit and just mark those. Now that I've got all the counter bores done and the sliders themselves, I need to start looking at how I'm going to attach the top. And I've got these 1¼ panhead screws. I'm going to be using those, but I need to drill down 1.5 inches from underside of these sliders. So what I've decided to do is put one at 1 inch, and then 10 inches from there, which is 11 inches, and another 10 inches, which is 21 inches. I'll move my ruler down here and put that at 10. And then I'm going to go 21 inches, which is 11 inches from here. And that will miss all the counter bores that I've put in. I think I'm at a point now where I'm ready to glue this up. I'm going to glue these in first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue, and I'll put it in about the first half, maybe third of the top of these dovetails. I'm only going to put it on the groove side of the dovetail. And that way when I push the piece down, it will help spread the glue throughout the rest of the joint. That's why I wanted to keep those a little loose, so to get these in here without a lot of drama. First one went in pretty easy, so the rest should be okay. The next thing that has to go in is the supports for the sliders, and I'm just going to glue those in using some Titebond 3 again. And there's no good way to clamp these, unfortunately. So I'm just going to make sure I've got a good amount of glue and put that on there. And then once they're in, I will tape them in place, and that should be enough to hold them, and I'll let them dry overnight. I also want to make sure that I reference off of this divider, because everything I've done so far as the layout of the slides has all been referenced off that back edge. Well, this glue up is pretty much done on the base. I'm going to finish up the slides a little later to let this glue dry. I'm probably going to put some screws in from underneath to hold these in a little bit tighter. I haven't decided yet. I think the glue is going to be pretty strong on there. We'll see how it goes, but for now this is done. I'm just going to let this sit for a while. I'm getting ready to attach the sliders right now. I mentioned before that these I want to be resting on the actual dividers themselves, but I don't want to cause that any friction, or that to cause any friction, I should say. Eventually I'm going to be adding some high density molecular something, HD something tape to the bottom of these. That's going to give it a slick surface and plus on here. In the meantime, temporarily, just so I can get everything put together, I'm using some small shims, which are pretty close to the thickness of 2 layers of that. So I'm going to put those on there and just rest that on there for now. And they will be elevated off that piece of wood for the moment. Well, I finally got the slides attached to the mechanisms and they slide real nice and smooth. So that's it for now. Next time I'll be working on the tabletop himself, and I'll be putting veneer top on it using shop sawn veneer, which I've done many times, but I'm using a new method that I've never tried before. Well, I've tested once, but never really done on a complete project, so it should be fun. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer any that you have. And as always, thanks for watching, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We'll see you later.